guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Macy. I'm a senior at the University of Oregon and I make lifestyle videos and vlogs. I upload new videos every Wednesday and Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so be sure you're subscribed and you ding the notification bell. That way you never miss an upload. Today, I'm doing something that I haven't done in probably a year, and I'm sharing with you guys what books I read in January. Reading is something I've always enjoyed and loved. Last year, I slacked off a little bit. I started out the year really strong. I had a goal of reading 52 books and I just barely met half of that goal, so I decided for 2020 that my goal would be 26 books, which is a book every other week. And so far I'm starting off really strong again. I read 5 books during January and I did finish one for February already, which is awesome. So the first book that I read is The City of Ember. This is one that I had read already probably in 6th grade. Yeah, it was 6th grade and I really enjoyed it. For the longest time, I could not remember the name of this book and I knew I wanted to reread it. So I was super excited when I found it at my library and I just had to read it again. Basically, this story is about a city, Ember, that is, I don't want to spoil it, but basically they live in darkness and have very little electricity. Their electricity is starting to go out. They're running out of it. Their lights and just their supplies that they live on, their food supply, their light bulb supply, all of that is starting to diminish. They have frequent electrical outings where the power goes out and they're all worried that it might never turn back on. And so the story follows Lena and Dune, where they find instructions for the way out of the city and follows them through that. And it's actually a series. So I have the second book on hold at my library right now. We did read that one in 6th grade as well. I don't really remember it as well. It's called The People of Sparks. And so I'm super excited to read that one. The second book that I read in January was Looking for Alaska. And this one I actually had on hold for a very long time. Probably 4 months I had put a request for this book. And so it was super popular. I've heard lots of people talking about it. And I honestly was pretty disappointed in it. It was not what I was expecting at all. Like, yeah, it was good, like most John Green books, but it just really wasn't my cup of tea. Basically, Looking for Alaska is about, I don't even remember his name now. They give him a nickname in the book as well, and so I don't remember even his nickname. This is how much I really just didn't care for this book. Anyways, this boy moves from Florida to a boarding school in Alabama, I think, and he makes some new friends. He falls in love with this girl, and then something happens to her, and he's basically just heartbroken. And I expected something like big and grand to happen towards the end of the book, and nothing really happened. So I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I was honestly pretty disappointed in this one, especially for how popular it is. I personally, if I knew what happened in the book, probably wouldn't have read it or recommended it to anyone just because I was not a fan at all. The third book that I read in January was 5 Feet Apart. This one is a newer one that's been pretty popular as well, and I did really enjoy it. So it is about a girl who has cystic fibrosis, I believe, and she meets a new boy where she's at the hospital who also has it, but if you have cystic fibrosis, you have to stay 6 feet apart from each other because you can get different bacterial infections from each other that your body just can't fight. And like most young adult books, they fall in love, and she's waiting for a lung transplant. He unfortunately has a disease where he can't get a lung transplant. He has some other form of it. I don't remember what it's called exactly. I feel like January just lasted a really long time and now I just can't remember anything, guys. One cool thing I did think about this book is that she is a YouTuber. She shares her cystic fibrosis journey with her subscribers, and I thought that was a little interesting because it's not something that you see in books or movies or anything like that. So I thought that was neat that that's what she does, and it's just normal, because a lot of people, if you say, oh yeah, I'm a YouTuber, they probably think it's kind of weird that you sit here and talk to a camera for a living. The fourth book that I read was Very Far Away from Anywhere Else. I grabbed this one just because I wanted a shorter read to work on before bed and that kind of thing. It was around 150 pages. It was older. I think it was written in the 70s, and I believe the original language was Russian. It wasn't originally written in English. So yeah, I did not like this one at all. I did not understand the plot at all. It's basically about a boy who doesn't really fit in anywhere, and he meets this girl who's his neighbor, and they just stay friends, but he basically ends up falling in love with her, and then one day, like, she gets mad, they stop being friends, he gets depressed, he gets in a car accident, and yeah, that's about it. There's no plot to this book, so I really did not enjoy it at all. Like, it was a quick and easy read. I could kind of follow along the story, but I didn't really understand the point in it or what was happening throughout the story. I was just kind of confused. Then the last book that I read was Me Before You. I did start this one in October or November of 2019, and I had this on a app through my library on my phone, and you can only borrow the books for 2 weeks at a time. And so many people have this one on hold that I would have to keep waiting to finish it, because I believe it's like around 600 pages, so it took me a while to get through it. So I finally read most of it in January and did finish it in January, and I really enjoyed it. Basically, it's about a girl who loses her job and she has to find a new job, and she ends up being a caretaker for this boy named Will, who is a quadriplegic, which basically he has minimal movement of his hands and his head, and that is it. He's completely paralyzed otherwise. Basically, she takes care of him and is on a mission to make him want to live this big eccentric life that he used to live prior to his accident. And so she makes a plan to take him on these adventures, and in the end, she may or may not end up falling in love with him. It is a little bit sad. So you get sad easy and that's not your kind of thing, you probably don't want to read this, but it is a series as well, so I'm super excited to dive in. Number 2, I have it on hold. I believe it's on hold for like 4 months, so we'll see how that is. So looking at all of these, I think my favorite read for January probably was The City of Ember, just because I did remember enjoying it in middle school so much, and probably just from the nostalgia of rereading it, I really enjoyed it. But out of the newer ones that I read, I think I enjoyed 5 Feet Apart the most. It wasn't relatable per se because I'm not hospitalized, but I think minus the disease part, it is really relatable. She's like a teenager and she's a senior in high school, so I think it's like the most relatable. It was a really good young adult story that I really enjoyed. So I'm sorry I'm not the best book critic for you guys. I honestly give pretty crappy reviews. I would rather just say I like this book, I didn't like this book. So this video is gonna be very short and sweet. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know what your favorite book you read in January was down below. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And today's shout out is gonna be right here. Thank you so much for commenting on my pinned comment, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!